The flowers.
It's not the Geschmack of Chittas.
The Rebbe says that it's the meaning that Moshe Rabbeinu is being decided the Yidden to be Mekayim Torah mitzvahs. It's like it's either over here or in Varnam. I'm not sure where the Rebbe says that, but that's how he calls this whole part of the parasha. Good. Okay, so we're gonna learn. We have two Tuesdays because Tuesday night, Shavuos is Tuesday night. So we have this Tuesday night and the next Tuesday night. So I chose a shorter mimer. It's Shehikdimu Tavshin Lamed Ches. The Rebbe said it. The Vaischois that year was obviously Shabbos. It was a 3-day Yom Tov. Shabbos was Erev Shavuos, and Monday was Shavuos. And the Rebbe said this mimer on Shabbos, Erev Shavuos. Okay, so it's Shehikdimu Tavshin Lamed Ches Bilti Muga. Let's get started. Shehikdimu Yisrael Nasa L'Nishma. Excuse me. Shehikdimu Yisrael Nasa L'Nishma Yodu Samach Reish Samach Ribi Malachi Asharis V'Koshel Kol Echad V'Echad Yisrael Shnei Ksarim Echad Kneged Naisa V'Echad Kneged Nishma. The Gemara tells us that when the Yidden said Nasa V'Nishma, this is in the run-up to Matan Torah. Moshe Rabbeinu spoke to the Yidden, and they said that whatever the Eibishter regarding Matan Torah, and the Yidden said that whatever the Eibishter tells us to do, Nasa, first we will do it for Nishma, and only then will we understand, will we listen and understand what the Eibishter wants from us, but we're going to do it in the of whatever the Eibishter says, that's what we're going to do. So because the Yidden reached that Madrega Migila Levana Raz, the Yidden reached that deep level of Kabbalah Soil, of Bittul, whatever you want, whatever it is, it's not over here, it's not the Indian of this idea. But the Malachi Asharis gave them 2 crowns, gave every single Yid 2 crowns, 1 crown corresponding to Naisa, and 1 crown corresponding to Nishma. So the Rebbe says, in Akdamas Naisa Nishma Hesa Behe B'Sivan. When the Yidden said Nasa v'Nishma, that happened on Hey Sivan. And this statement of the Yidden, the accepting upon themselves that even before they hear what David is telling them, they're going to do whatever he tells them. So this was the introduction and the preparation and the vessel. Tzai for Matan Torah mitzad the Eibishter, tzai for Kabbalah Torah mitzad the Yidden. As the Gemara over there continues, the Amar Rava shall zen nemar on this behavior of the Yidden, where they said whatever it is we're going to do. So it says in the pasuk, Tumas Yishanim Tanachim, the Tumas Malashin Tamim. How do you touch Tamim? You can put a sincerity over here, either wholeheartedness, sincerity. So the sincerity of the upright ones will lead them. Hainu Shalidei Tumasam, through the sincerity and the wholeheartedness of the Yidden. Shehikdimu Nasa L'Nishma, that they said whatever it is we're going to do, there was no second guessing. There was no doubt. There was no part of them that said maybe yes, maybe not. They were wholeheartedly and sincerely with the Eibishter. So this led them. Where did this lead them to? Hainu shatumasmu aderech lagiel matan Torah. Their sincerity, their tmimis, is what led them to reach Matan Torah. Mashenkin lehepech. The pasuk continues. Come first, b'sima pasuk. Sarich lahavin kiven shebehei sivan hayisol betachlis hashlemos. Since in Hey Sivan, the Yidden already reached the highest level of Shleimus. Shehikdimu Nasa L'Nishma, they had an absolute and complete Ibegegebenkeit and Bittul to the Eibishter. They were completely given over to the Eibishter. That in recognition of this, Shemalachi Hasharis Kashru L'Kol Echad V'Echad Beis Ksarim Echad Keneged Naisa V'Echad Keneged Nishma. They gave, the Malachim gave the Yidden 2 crowns, one corresponding to Nasa, 1 corresponding to Nishma. She'inin HaKeser, Huinin HaMakif, Shalamayla Miseder HaIshtalshalos. Through this behavior of the Yidden from their part, they also got very high revelations from above, which Keser, a crown, is the meaning of Makif. It's higher than all of the levels of Ishtalshalos. As it's known that in the high level of a king, what's the main high level of the king is the Keser HaMalchus. When the king has a crown, so then you could say on him that the Melech reached his completeness, that then you could call him that you see the king in his full beauty. The Imkain, and here Deb asks the question, which this is the whole point of the Maimer, Mahu hachidush of Matan Torah bevav b'sivan. What was the chidush of Matan Torah on Vav Sivan? This Maimer Deb makes us a very good say there. In other words, in very short and concise words, Rebbe tells us what happened during Matan Torah. Of course, we know that the Yidden got the Torah. The Eibishter gave the Torah to the Yidden. But what was accomplished? What didn't exist before in the Yid's Aveda and the Yid's ability to serve the Eibishter in the story of Yiddishkeit? It started way before with the Avos, and it continues until now. What was this event of Matan Torah? What was the novelty, the Chiddush, what we got here that we didn't get any time before? That's the whole question of the Maimer, and that's the whole clarity that this Maimer brings to the Yom Tov of Shavuos. Hopefully we'll see by the time we finish the Maimer next week. We'll be able to have a clear idea what's the Mailah. So he says like this, and Rebbe continues asking many milas that we see that the Yidden already had before Matan Torah, which only strengthens the question, it begs the question even more, what was the Chiddush, what was new during Matan Torah? Furthermore, we need to understand the back. When the Pasuk describes the Yidden's arrival to Har Sinai, where they set up camp for Matan Torah, so the Pasuk says, "B'chedesh hashlishi," in the third month, b'yom hazeh, in this day, they came to the Sinai desert. V'yichem sham Yisrael neged ha'ar, and the Yidden camped over there, all together opposite the mountain. That on this day the Yidden already reached all of the high levels, and they were already ready and in a state, in a condition of being at the level of Matan Torah, of Kabbalah Satera. And that's Taka why the Alter Rebbe explains in the Pasuk, it says, B'chedesh HaShlishi, that it was the third month. The Yidden already accomplished, and we already had this concept of three, which is not going to explain over here, but the concept of three is connected to Matan Torah. There's a certain mila in three. It's discussed in many other places. The third level, the third idea, like it says in the Gemara, that the Eibishter Yav Urion Plisai, the Eibishter gave us a Torah which is made up of three Torah Nevi'im Uksuvim. La'am Tlisai, to a nation which is comprised of three Kainim, Levim, and Yisraelim. Al Yedei Tlisai, through the third one, Moshe Rabbeinu, who was born the third after Miriam and Aaron. B'yom Tlisai, in the third day of the Shleishis Yimei Agbola. The Yarchat Tlisai, in the third day of in the third month of the year, in Nisan Iyar Sivan. So the Yidden already had all of these milas of Shlishi on the first day, on Reish Chodesh Sivan, when they arrived over there. And that's why the Pasuk is Medayik and says, B'chedesh HaShlishi. So they already had all the milas of Shleisha. And furthermore, they also had the milah of Zeh. The Zeh, Gam Asher Kasav B'yom Hazeh, and to explain what the big milah of Zeh is, they was going to spend the whole next Tziv. The Zeh, Gam Asher Kasav B'yom Hazeh, you do Hadiyuk B'Zeh.
You skip one,
Excuse me, Ukumesh Meisif, Rabbeinu Nissim Gain, Right Pratim Hashayachim L'Matan Torah Shem B'Mispar Shalish. And Rabbeinu Nissim Gain adds even more details that you have related to the event of Matan Torah that also came in the number of three. This is why the same pasuk also continues. It says, "B'yom hazeh bo midbar Sinai diyadu adiyuk b'zeh." Why does it say that? Lama nemar stam b'yom hazeh v'lo pirish b'ezeh yom. Why doesn't it say the way it always says, that on the first day of the month they came? The only way we know that B'yom hazeh, that the Yidden's arrival at Har Sinai was on the third day of the month, on the first day of the month, on Reish Chodesh, was from Gzeira Shava. That HaChodesh hazeh lachem is Reish Chodesh, and B'yom hazeh, so they make a Gzeira Shava from the word zeh to know that it was Reish Chodesh. HaChodesh hazeh lachem Reish Chodashim is where they made the Gzeira Shava. So it's very hidden. It's only an Gzeira Shava, and the pasuk instead chooses to use the word zeh. If you're already going to take a Gzeira Shava to Achedesh Zelachem, you could use the word midbar for the Gzeira Shava, which says also in both places. I couldn't work out where you have midbar in Achedesh Zelachem, but it's in the Gemara in Pesachim. Somebody wants by us, yeah, that's clear. But Achedesh Zelachem, it's not right there in the pasuk, and the Rebbe brings the question from Tosfos, and Tosfos brings to Pesachim Davav Amud Beis. I didn't continue to the trail, but we could trust Tosfos that they can make a Gzeira Shava from the word midbar, and the Gemara chooses to say that no, the Gzeira Shava is dafka from the word zeh. So there's something very, very significant with the word zeh going on over here. Okay, you with us? So we have over here that the Yidden already before Matan Torah were already on a very, very high level. Okay, first of all, they already had the Maile of Nasav and Nishma, where they showed their sincerity, their tmimus to the Eibishter. And on top of that, they had that the Malachi Asharis gave them 2 crowns, one for Nasa and one for Nishma. In addition to that, they already had the Maila of Shleisha of the 3rd level, whatever you want, whatever it is, which is not discussed over here in the Maimer, because they had Bachedesh HaShlishi. So they already had all of those Mailas. In addition to that, now the Rebbe is adding, they also had the Maila of Zeh, even before Matan Torah. On the first day of Sivan, they already had the Maila of Zeh. So the Yidden already had a lot of things. So what was accomplished that was new during Matan Torah? To understand what the significance of Zeh is, the Teisves asked that we could have made the Gzeira Shava from the word Midbar, because that already would have been a very high Madrega that's in Ganzen higher than the whole Seder Ishtalshlus. Usually, and we learned it in Ani L'Deidi V'Deidili and Maluk Dalit, and in many other places, that the Midbar he quotes this pasuk Lo Yoshav Adam Sham, that in a desert a person can't live, and it's L'Greisa. It's L'Greisa. It's not a place where a person could do his Aveda of Dir B'Tachtein. What's the Aveda of a person? To make a place for the Eibishter. A place of a Midbar is a place so full of not good that the Yid can't do his Aveda for which he was created, just like a person can't live in the Midbar. But over here he teaches that the Midbar is L'mayla Mitzad Ishtashus Asher Lo Yoshav Adam Sham. You have, I'm teaching the way I understand, you have the end of his Yashvus. What's his Yashvus? That you come down in Hamshachet and say that his Shtalshalus, where the Eid is coming to Kalim. Then you have the Madrega of Makif, which is higher than his Yashvus, which is higher than being able to come, and that's expressed by the concept of a Midbar, which Lo Yoshav Adam Sham. A person can't have a Yashvus over there. So it's a Midbar is already high, a very high Madrega. Nevertheless, as Tosfos points out, the Chachamim don't make the Gzeira Shava from Midbar. That's not the word in the pasuk that describes what happened on the first day of Sivan. Why? Because this tremendous Maila of the Midbar is hidden, is concealed. What do you see when you look at a Midbar? You see that we're lacking, we're missing something. You see that we don't have the Hisyashvus. The Makif stayed Behelem Behester. It didn't come to us. That's what we feel Begili. Behelem, Taka, what's going on is something much higher. It's not Hisyashvus, because we're dealing over here with much higher levels than are capable of coming into Hisyashvus. But Begili, all we feel is the lack of Hisyashvus. So Midbar is missing the Gili. And that's why we learn it from the Bchina of Zeh. Zeh indicates that it comes in Revelation. The Yidden were able to point at the Eibishter and say, Zeh, here he is. This Madrega of Midbar, this Madrega that's L'mayla Mihishtalshalos, L'mayla Megilui Ba Begilui Lamata. It came in an Ethan of Zeh, you were able to see it and experience it, and therefore you didn't have a Midbar, you had a Gililikus. And what's the significance of that? We already have the whole story. We take the Madrega, which is higher than Ishtalshalos, which Bapashtus includes all of the Madregas. Once you say Lamal Ishtalshalos, means they're going all the way up to Lo Yisbarach, to Atzmos, and you bring it not in an Ethan of Midbar, because the Atzmos is always present everywhere, but he's not felt, he's not revealed. You bring it in an Ethan of Zeh, in a revealed way. So now you have Lo Yisbarach, you have the Megillah Shalamayla Mishtalshalos, the Chur also Ad Kedei Atzmos, and you have it revealed where? In Tachteinim. So Dir B'Tachteinim you already have also before Matan Torah. It's a tremendous question. Dir B'Tachteinim, the Gili of Atzmos in Tachteinim, in Elam Hazeh, you had before Matan Torah. So what's new in Matan Torah? What's left? What's missing? We're coming soon to celebrate Matan Torah, Kabbalah Satera. What are we supposed to feel as Matan Torah? What's the Chiddush over here? And therefore we'll know what to live with. Not a bad answer, but it's not what the Rebbe says over here. He's saying that Mitzvah V'Esa, that before that we weren't commanded by the Eibishter, and now we are. But But it's not the point that they ever discusses over here. Okay. Shezeu gam hatam l'masha yored Hashem al Har Sinai, which this idea of Dira B'Tachteinim is also the reason why the Eibishter came down to Har Sinai. Picture this, what they was going to tell us, something that I never thought of, I never imagined, but try to picture it. The Eibishter came down dafke to Har Sinai. The Eibishter descended down here into this world on Har Sinai, and he gave us the Torah down here on the earth. And Lamata Mesar Tvachim. The Lechura says the Rebbe, Hayachal Lahalis is Har Sinai v'Yisrael v'Moshe l'mayla ala Shemayim litin shamatera. The Eibishter could have lifted us up. Reish Pei Zayin, the second page, but it's upside down. The Eibishter could have lifted us all up. He wants to give us the Torah. The Torah is B'Shamayim. So take the Yidden, take Moshe Rabbeinu, take the whole situation, take the whole Har Sinai, bring them up into Shemayim and give them Torah there. Could you picture this scene, this sight? The Eibishter lifts us all up to L'chura. Yeah, but that's what they were saying. It's not the B'Tachteinim, so we're going to get there in a moment. But they were saying, with this question, it's a very beautiful visual, because what you get to see over here is the whole word of Chassidus. Until Chassidus, or at least until Chassidus Chabad, what do you think when you hear Yiddishkeit? Holy, holy, holy. When fleet in Himmel. So they were saying, if the fleet in Himmel, so why did the Eibishter come down to earth? If the whole idea of a Yid is to say, as ich bin Hecher von Welt, ich bin Heiliger von Welt, mer Heilig von Welt, so then you have a problem. Then why didn't the Eibishter take you up to heaven to give you Torah? You see over here that that's not the point. The point is the Eibishter doesn't want you to be holier than the world. The Eibishter wants you to be a human being the way human beings are, ad kedei our generation. And over here, bring Atzmos U'Mahos, Dira B'Tachteinim. So that's why the Eibishter didn't. That's why that's not what Har Sinai historically looked at. You know, you have like these games of alternative history. What if this would have happened? So what if Matan Torah was in heaven? If Matan Torah was in heaven, then the whole taich of Yiddishkeit would be to be holy. But since Matan Torah was not in heaven, so what's the taich of Yiddishkeit? Of bringing holiness into this world. Not that I should be holy. Like you pointed out, it's dafke to give the Torah down here. The Yidden already had the Maila of Har Sinai, which has in its two components. What's the meaning of Har Sinai? Aleph, the Lama Nikra Shmoi Sinai, Shemimenu Yodas Sinai La'akum. Why is Har Sinai called Har Sinai? So the Gemara teaches that Sinai is Miloshen Sinai, that a hatred for the nations of the world descended onto the earth. From Sinai, from the time of Matan Torah, a hatred for the nations of the world came down into this world. Yeah.
No, Sinai Le'akum means Sinai zu, hat feint a Goy. Der Goy hat uns feint.
Nein. Sinai Le'akum is the Eibishter hat feint a Goy. The Eibishter hat feint a Goy. You're going to see soon how he's going to teach it. Ubeis, and the second thing that's said about the words Har Sinai, why was it called Sinai? The Chamisha Shemesh says that Har Sinai has 5 names. I don't know if I can remember all of them. Har Elikim, Har Cherev, Har Gavnunim, Har Sinai. No. Har Sinai, Har Elikim, Har Gavnunim, Har Cherev. No, there's one more. And the Medrash over there, Darsans, each one of them, how it connected the Yidden to the Eibishter in a wonderful way. Har Gavnunim, that their connection to the Eibishter was complete. Har Elikim, I can't remember what the Medrash says, but a few things. So Har Sinai expresses both a hatred towards the Goyim and a love towards the Yidden. So what's the beer over here? Aleph, I'm sorry, Hainu. Right.
So sin from the Goyim to Eden.
No, that makes them hate us because they see that the Eibishter loves us. But the Eibishter hates them. Can't stand them.
Doesn't sit well. As I supposed to pshat, that the cynic that from Har Sinai came down a cynic to the Goyim, from the Eibishter to the Goyim. Hainu. So what do we have over here? Hainu inin hatevli sosim shechnas Sinai. So the 5 shemus of Har Sinai, they show on the goodness that came down to the Yidden from Har Sinai.
What's a sin? Because it destroyed the whole notion of what it means to be in hell. That there's a God. By then it used to be all of the Zara.
True.
It's a zichar sin.
True. So what are these 2 ideas? A sin for the goyim and a teiv, a goodness for the Yidden. So the Rebbe explains that by way of talking about Torah. The Torah also has 2 concepts. 2 concepts.
It's kind of over there.
Dihine. HaTorah nikras oiz v'tushia. The Torah is called oiz v'tushia, strength and weakness. Tushia.
That it means salvation.
Not salvation if you want to attach it. Resourcefulness if you want. There's not a lot of mefarshim on the pillars of the word tushia. Oiz, Rashi explains the Tzin explains. Tushia, I don't know why there weren't a lot. What? No. It's either Lashon Eitza or Lashon resourceful. The English teaches the resourcefulness. I don't know where he got to it, but one of them are first on the pasuk, and this is the way the Rebbe follows over here is Tashim Lashon Tosh, Tashas Keich, so weakness. So Sai strength and Sai weakness. Like I said, I'm touching 2 opposites, and I'm touching it like that because it's also one of the Pirushim HaPshutim on the pasuk, based on the Mefarshim on the Nach. So Oiz, to who did strength come down to? L'nefesh halikis. Strength came to the nefesh halikis. The tushia and weakness came to the nefesh habamis. Hainu, meaning sha'terenes and es kech leis l'nefesh halikis. Rebbe's going to give a beautiful beer over here. What's pshat? Saya strength, nefesh halikis, and Saya weakness to nefesh habamis. And how does that all tie in with Yarda Sina La'akum and 5 good things that the Yidden got by Har Sinai? What's the story over here? So here's the story. So you have an nefesh halikis, da'af shehi chelik lekami ma'al mamash. Even though it's a chelik lekami ma'al mamash, so l'chura it doesn't need any help from anybody, from anything. Since the nefesh habamis came down and was enclosed and was slept into a body and an animalistic soul, so therefore it needs to receive strength from the Torah that it should be able to stand strong and do what a nefesh halikis is supposed to do. The only place that you can get strength from, the only type of strength that is true strength that really exists is Torah. I explained in Ges HaKodesh. So what are we missing over here? Why do we also need a tushia? You're giving strength to the nefesh halikis. The nefesh halikis has everything that it needs. What's the second part of Tashil Nefesh Habamis? If the Nefesh Halikis is strong, of course he could be victorious over the Nefesh Habamis. What's the second part? And this is really continuing the theme of why did they have to bring the Torah down here into this world? Why didn't you bring the world up for the Torah? So it says like this, it's not enough for Dira B'Tachtenim, it's not enough that the Nefesh Halikis is strong, that we're holy, as Manat Yiddish and Neshama. It's Nish Genug. You also have to be pale on the goof. If we want the Nefesh Halikis to win the body, in other words, to defeat him, to destroy him, to annihilate him, so all you have to do is make the Nefesh Halikis stronger. But if you want the Nefesh Halikis to transform the body,
You gotta keep it going.
huh?
You gotta keep it going. You can't destroy it.
No, the point is that it should
Make
remain
it
an
work for
Nefesh
you.
but it should be able to work for you. So for this, you have to break its strength, and that's the idea of Tushia, the weakness of the Nefesh Habamis, that it should be capable of being refined by the Nefesh Halikis. And that's the deep, that's the beauty of the Tushia. You can get caught up on the Oiz. Yeah, you read the pasuk Oiz, you almost forget the Tushia. Baruch Hashem, I have powers, I have energies. That's not the Nekudah. The Nekudah is to work with the Nefesh Habamis. Kisir Chamer Seinacho, Medaf Arbetim Techamer, right? Oziv Taziv Vimle. So he says like this. The idea isn't to have a strong Nefesh Halikis. Why do you need a strong Nefesh Halikis? In order that he should succeed in fixing his body and his Nefesh Habamis and Chelkei Ba'elam. And Be'ikir Chelkei Ba'elam, Deb explains in a different manner. K'mvor Be'etz Chaim Hu Be'Betanya. In L'zet Tzarech B'chinas Tushia. Shemateshes Keichus Ol Nefesh Habamis. Hainu Shemateshes Hagashmis V'Haruch V'Achum Yusuf B'Nefesh Habamis. It weakens the materialistic and physical components, dimensions of the Nefesh Habamis. And then once you weaken the materialism and the physicality of the Nefesh Bahamis, so now you could come to the other Pirush in Tashia. Ah? It nutzt nicht, will es haben. As me machen von der Nefesh Bahamis was Shimi Lashon Hashasos. Now that you transform the Nefesh Bahamis, you have a foundation. Hashasos Yeheresum. It's in Tehillim. Hashasos, the foundations are destroyed. So now you have a foundation. By being mevarer, your guf and Nefesh Bahamis and Chelke Ben, you know what you have a foundation for? Listen to this. Shezehu Yisoid Kol HaAveda V'Kol Seder Ishtalshus. You have a foundation for the entire Aveda of a Yid, and not only for the Aveda of a Yid, but for the entire creation, including the Ilmus Ilyani. Kitachlis HaKavana Hilasis Leis Barich Dira B'Tachtenim, because the whole idea is to make a Dira B'Tachtenim. Shezen Nifal Aladeh HaPa'ula B'Hakuf Nefesh Bahamis, which this is accomplished not by the eyes to the Nefesh Elikis, but by affecting and changing and working with the group of the Nefesh Bahamis. This part I'm not sure if I understood it correctly, but I'll tell you the way I understand it. And this is why the Aseres HaDibris, and the way I understand it is the Aseres HaDibris, which is when the Eibishter came down to Har Sinai. They include within them all of the mitzvahs. Yeah, so what's the kesher to here? It's not so clearly spoken out. So the Aseres HaDibris include in them all the mitzvahs. Because all of the mitzvahs were enclosed dafka in dvarim gashmim, because that's what the Eibishter wants. The whole purpose of creation is that there should be a dira in the tachtenim, in the dvarim gashmim. So what's the connection between Islapsha Dvarim Gashmim to the fact that they're included in Aseres HaDibris? That's the part that I'm not so clear on. About Kaponim, it's maybe because by Aseres HaDibris the Eibishter came down on Har Sinai and included all of them. About Kaponim, that's the whole meaning of Teira, and that's the whole meaning of Zeh. Okay, so this whole idea that Rebbe explained about the two Nekudas in Teira, Eis v'Tushia, really happened by Har Sinai already. Bo Midbar Sinai, there was the Tushia for the Goyim, the Sinah to the Akum, and the Eis to the Yidin, the Chamisha Shemis Nikru'ula, Al Shem the Chamisha Madregas and Milas that the Yidin got by Har Sinai, but Bo Midbar Sinai was before Matan Teira already. And to say so, the Mile of Dira B'Tachtenim we already had before Matan Teira. So Ibazei, Al Pi calls it 11 B'Yeser. Ma'or Rasha Gadol Shebenisin Teira. Skumt Ashvuas. Okay, fine, another day I'll eat milchiks. What's the big excitement over here? You get a new suit and eat milchiks. That's what I'm at on Teira. Rachmana Libabai. As the hearts from dimensions will dort in sein Eichet. Amolis Kabbalas Elamayla. In the Maimer HaShamayim Kisi, the Rebbe says that in order to be Poel Atzmus, Arabtragen Atzmus in Welt, for them is genug Kabbalas Lamata Mitam Vadas. So Muna Lamata Mitam Vadas and Kabbalas Lamata Mitam Vadas. It's connected to Atzmus to talk up Atzmus. Wie mit Zet ist der Noshim Schutim alle sagen, Baruch Hashem, gelebt ist der Ewigste, wie der Baal Shem Tov hat gesagt. Aber als man will, es soll nicht nur sein, Hamshachas Atzmus, Arabtragen Atzmus. Now Atzmus soll sein Begilui. It should be revealed. The Atzmus should be revealed in the world. For that you need Kabbalas Oil and the Munah Shalamayla Mitamadas. So to that she got head in Shvuz. Nicht nur the Kabbalas Oil and Mitamadas. It's Lamayla.
What seems to be implying is that the Shchodesh Nisan onwards, which was the Hachonah, all these inyanim were accomplished in the Hachonah.
Correct.
The unity, which that's it. The unity of Yidden. What does it say?
That was going to get back to the 3 lines. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so everything was accomplished before.
Correct.
So therefore, what's the big thing about Mount Torah?
What new? What new happened?
Right.
We had everything
very
already.
Things, right.
Not only very high things, but everything already. Yeah. So all of the previously mentioned things, right? Let's run through them quickly. Hakdamas Naisel Nishma, the Shnei Ksanim Shekashru Lahem, the Indian of Shlishi, the Indian of Zeh, which is higher than Midbar, and the Indian of Dir B'Tachtenim of Gilil Kuslamata down here in this world, the Eis to the Nefesh Lakis and the Tushia to the Nefesh Bahamis, with all of the mitzvahs that were established in Dvarim Gashmiyim. We all had that before Matan Torah. And not only were they here, each individual Yid had all of these milas. and these inyanim. That the Yidden in the singular, in other words, each individual Yid was there at Har Sinai. The kulam ki'isha echad b'lev echad with perfect and absolute unity. Amdu neged ahar muchanim. They were prepared already to kabel lahatayra. Balachs kama behesiv, and a certain hesiv and shazik do me so nasal nishmat shamalach eshas kashul kolach ve'echad mem beis ksarim. So this is already beyond Aleph Nisan. But then going back to the very beginning of the Maimer Tehesiv, and when we had Nasiv and Nishma and the two ksarim, echad neg Nasiv echad neg Nishma, v'im kein ma'al achidush v'matan teira bevav b'sivin. Was is the chiddush? What are we celebrating? What are we celebrating? What are we? And Sekunta Shavuos. Was is Shavuos? Was is Shavuos? That's the first question. Gut, mit Hashem, wir sind weiter. Ah? Shkech.